I slammed the divorce papers onto the linen tablecloth like a guillotine blade, the ink still wet from the notary stamp, right as my mother was mid-sentence about family values and forgiveness. Ethan's fork clattered against his plate, turkey juice splattering like fresh accusations, his face draining to the color of the mashed potatoes he'd been shoving down his throat to avoid my stare. And, in that electric silence, before anyone could gasp or preach, I whispered, "Accept his affair?
Fine.
But accept this. I know what you did in 18, Ethan, and so does the DA now." That Thanksgiving dinner in our McMansion outside Raleigh, North Carolina, was supposed to be the pinnacle of Southern hospitality masking rot. The air smelled of sage stuffing and my simmering rage, the kind that had been braising for months under polite smiles and passive-aggressive casserole deliveries from the neighbors. I'd spent the morning basting the bird, basting my wounds, while Ethan fielded texts from his work buddy in the den, texts I'd hacked into weeks ago. The ones with heart emojis and hotel confirmations that twisted my gut like a bad batch of cornbread. I'm Violet Hargrove, or at least that's the name on the deed to this 4-bedroom trap we bought after our dream wedding in the Smokies 6 years back. 38. Marketing exec at a pharma giant downtown. The one who climbed the ladder while Ethan coasted on his real estate flips. We were the poster couple for millennial regret, college sweethearts from UNC. Vows exchanged under magnolias. A life scripted by rom-coms until it unraveled like cheap pantyhose. My family, Mom,
Dad,
and my Bible-thumping sister Clara flew in from Charlotte, expecting the usual, grace before meals, small talk about the Panthers' losing streak, and Ethan's charm offensive to butter them up for his promotion pitch. But I knew better. I'd found the lipstick on his collar in July, coral shade like a sunset over the Neuse River. Not mine. Then the late nights at client meetings, the cologne that wasn't his Old Spice. By September, I'd tailed him to that Hampton Inn off I-40, watched him slip into room 214 with her, Lila, the yoga instructor from his CrossFit gym, all live limbs and Lululemon lies. Betrayal hit like a freight train through the tobacco fields. But I didn't cry. I seethed. Plotted. Because Ethan's sins weren't just flesh, they were forged in fire from years ago. A secret I'd buried deeper than Granny's pecan pie recipe. It started in 2018, that sweltering summer when we were still pretending at bliss. Ethan had been flipping houses in the Research Triangle boom, old tobacco barns turned into rustic chic, rentals for tech bros from Silicon Valley transplants. One deal went south, a Victorian in Durham, wired with faulty electrics he ignored to cut corners. The buyers sued, but Ethan, ever the silver-tongued devil, sweet-talked the inspector into signing off. Then the fire happened. Faulty wiring sparked at midnight, gutted the place, nearly killed the young couple inside, a newlywed coder and his artist wife, trapped upstairs with their rescue dog. They made it out, singed but alive. But the insurance claim? Ethan fudged the docs, pocketed the payout under the table. I found the emails on his laptop while he was in the shower, humming Sweet Caroline like he hadn't just committed arson by negligence. My heart stopped. We were broke then, drowning in student loans and IVF bills after our 3rd miscarriage. I could have walked, reported him, watched him rot in county lockup. But love, or what I mistook for it, made me stupid. I deleted the files, lied to the investigators when they came knocking, said I'd handled the renovations myself. A woman's touch, I joked, while my palms sweated arsenic. He never thanked me. Just bought me that pearl necklace with blood money and whispered, "We're unbreakable now."
Vi.
Unbreakable. like the chains around my neck. For 7 years, I'd carried that guilt like a tumor, smiling through PTA meetings and book club brunches, while Ethan climbed bigger flips, fancier truck, that smug grin at barbecues.
And me?
The loyal wife, the fixer, the fool who thought silence was sacrifice. By fall of 25, the affair was the match to my powder keg. Lila wasn't just a fling, she was his escape pod, texting him about our future while I balanced the checkbook. I confronted him in October, over lukewarm takeout lo mein in the kitchen that cost us $50,000 in marble. "Who's she?" I asked, voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. He crumbled like a stale biscuit, admitted it, blamed midlife malaise, swore it'd end. But the lies lingered, slimy as okra gumbo. I played along, baked his favorite chess pie for his birthday, all while digging. Hired a PI on the sly, the kind who charges in Bitcoin and doesn't ask about your motives. That's when the second secret surfaced. Or maybe it was the first one resurfacing like bile. The PI emailed me grainy photos, Ethan and Lila at a Tidal Max pawn shop in Cary, hawking what looked like heirloom jewelry, my heirlooms. The sapphire ring for my grandmother, vanished after a burglary last spring. But worse, transcripts from a Durham PD wiretap. Ethan wasn't just cheating, he was laundering. Using Lila as a front for his latest flip scam, ghostwriting leases for phantom tenants, skimming HUD grants meant for low-income vets. The fire from 18? It was the blueprint. He'd graduated to felony fraud. And this time, bodies weren't on the line, but lives were. Families evicted into the cold Raleigh winters. Dreams foreclosed like bad bets at Harrah's. I could have gone to the cops then. Anonymous tip from a burner phone.
But no.
Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a slow roast. I needed them all to feel the burn. My family, with their stand by your man gospel from Fox News reruns and megachurch sermons.
Clara,
Who'd once whispered in my ear at our wedding, "Ethan's a keeper, don't let the feminists ruin it."
Mom,
Who'd endured Dad's flings in the 80s and called it the cost of commitment. They didn't know about the fire, the lies I told for him. But they would. At Thanksgiving, when the turkey was carved and the wine flowed, I'd serve them truth on a silver platter. The weeks leading up blurred into a fevered dream of normalcy laced with venom. I nodded through Ethan's board meeting excuses, packed his gym bag with a smile, even attended Lila's accidental run-in at the Harris Teeter, where she cooed about kale smoothies and eyed my cart like it held state secrets. Inside, I was a pressure cooker, therapy sessions where I vented to Dr. Patel about trust issues, but really mapping escape routes, lawyers on retainer, a safety deposit box for the evidence I'd printed and notarized. The divorce filing was easy. North Carolina's no-fault laws meant I didn't need to air the dirty laundry in court.
yet.
Property split 50/50ths. Alimony from his earnings, custody of our golden retriever Rufus, if it came to that. But the real hook? I'd attached an exhibit, a thumb drive of those emails, ready for the DA if he fought dirty. Family arrived Wednesday, suitcases thumping like heartbeats on the foyer Persian rug. Hugs reeked of Chanel No. 5 and hypocrisy, moms. Always the first to judge a waitress's short skirt, but blind to Dad's poker nights at the VFW. Clara brought her latest essential oils MLM pitch. Dad his endless Tar Heel stories. Ethan played host, firing up the Traeger with craft IPAs, regaling them with tales of his big close on a condo in Nightdale. I watched from the kitchen window, chopping celery like throats, wondering if they tasted the arsenic in the air. Thursday was prep. Pies cooling on wire racks. The good china from our registry dusted off. That night, over Cards Against Humanity, irony lost on them, Clara cornered me in the powder room. Heard rumors at the salon?
Vi.
Ethan's. Straying. Her whisper was a scalpel wrapped in silk. I froze. Mascara wand midair. Who told you? She shrugged. That sanctimonious tilt. Grapevine. But honey, men wander. Remember Aunt June? She prayed through Uncle Ray's phase. And they made it to gold. Prayed through. As if infidelity was a flu. Not a fracture. I laughed. Brittle as autumn leaves. Prayer's not my jam.
Sis.
Action is. She patted my hand, pity in her eyes. Don't be hasty. Family first.
Family.
The word curdled like spoiled milk. That night, in our king bed, Ethan reached for me, breath hot with bourbon regret. I let him, body rigid as a board, mind miles away, rehearsing the drop, the words that would shatter the crystal vase on the mantel. Friday dawned crisp, leaves carpeting the cul-de-sac like confetti from a funeral. I rose at 5. Pilates in the basement to sweat out the doubt. Then into the kitchen for the symphony of sizzle, bacon popping, biscuits rising. Ethan stumbled down at 8,
Tousled charm intact.
kissing my neck like nothing had frayed. Smells like heaven.
Babe.
Heaven. If only he knew the inferno brewing. By noon, the table was set, crystal goblets etched with monograms we'd never use again, silverware polished to a guilty sheen. Mom fussed over the floral centerpiece, hydrangeas from the backyard, blue as bruises. Dad cracked dad jokes about the Lions game. Clara scrolled Zillow for godly homes. Ethan hovered, refilling glasses with Napa Valley Red, his eyes darting to his phone like a junkie to a vein. We sat at 2. Grace mumbled by Dad, bless this food and the hands that made it, and keep our bond strong.
Bonds.
I bit my tongue till it bled copper. The meal unfolded in rituals, passing the gravy boat shaped like a duck. Compliments on my cornbread dressing. Laughter bubbled over Ethan's story of a buyer mistaking the septic for a spa. Then, the lull, the pie course, when bellies full turned to confessions. It was Mom who lit the fuse. Spoon midway to her mouth. She fixed me with those soft, sad eyes. Violet. Honey. Clara mentioned something. About Ethan and troubles. The table hushed. Forks suspended. Ethan's jaw tightened. I saw the vein pulse at his temple like a warning flare. Clara nodded solemnly. We just want what's best. Marriage is sacred. A little indiscretion? Water under the bridge. Accept it. Work through counseling. For the family. Accept it. The words landed like slaps, echoing the sermons I'd endured since Sunday school. Wives submit. Turn the other cheek. Forgive 70 times 7. Dad chimed in. Gruff. Men make mistakes. Hell.
I did.
Your mom stuck it out. We're here. Ain't we? Pride swelled in his chest, shame coiled in mine. Ethan reached for my hand under the table. Squeeze pleading, don't do this. Not now.
But now was exactly when.
My pulse thundered like bass at a Luke Bryan concert. I pulled away, stood slow as a judge's gavel. From my sweater pocket, the manila envelope crisp, sealed with red wax like a death warrant. I placed it square in the center, atop the butter dish, The words petition for dissolution of marriage glaring like neon on Bourbon Street. Gasps rippled, Mom's hand to her pearls. Clara's eyes widening like saucers. Dad's fork clanging. Ethan's face? Ashen. Eyes darting to the exit like a cornered fox. Violet. What the hell? He hissed. Voice low thunder.
I smiled, cold as December rain.
You heard them.
Ethan.
Accept the affair?
They said so.
So here's my acceptance. Papers served. Effective immediately. And since we're all family, I slid the thumb drive from the envelope, dangling it like a noose. This is for the fire in 18. The one you caused. The one I lied for. Emails, wire transfers, witness statements from the PI. Copied to the DA this morning. Enjoy your pie. Y'all. It might be your last together. Chaos erupted. A cyclone in China. Mom wailing, my boy. Clara screeching, you're destroying us. Dad pounding the table with think of the scandal. Ethan lunged, but I stepped back. Phone in hand, 911 on speed dial. Because in North Carolina, assaulting your soon-to-be ex at Thanksgiving? That's a holiday special. He froze, venom in his eyes. You bitch. After everything? Everything. I laughed.
Hollow.
You mean the lies? The theft? The other woman warming our bed, while I mourned alone. The room spun. Accusations flying like buckshot. Clara accusing me of betrayal. Mom clutching Ethan's arm like he was the victim. Dad muttering about feminazi bullshit. And me, standing tall in the wreckage. Heart hammering, wondering if revenge tasted like freedom or just ash. But that was just the appetizer. The real feast of fallout waited outside these walls, where sirens wailed faintly in the distance, my anonymous tip bearing fruit. As they bundled coats and curses, Ethan cornered me by the coat rack, breath ragged. You'll regret this.
Vi.
Lila's pregnant. 3 months. And if you think the DA cares about old news.
Pregnant.
The word punched the air from my lungs. Not just an affair, a lifeline he'd tossed to her.
Not me.
Our IVF dreams. Dashed, her belly, blooming with his escape. Twist of the knife. Or maybe the mercy kill. I shoved him toward the door, Rufus barking at my ankles like applause. Tell her congrats.
And Ethan?
Merry fucking Christmas. They stormed out into the gloaming, taillights fading down Elmwood Lane like retreating armies. I sank to the floor amid crumbs and candle stubs, envelope clutched to my chest. Victory? Or just the first crack in my own facade? The DA called at dusk, charges pending. Fraud ring dismantled. Lila's name on the list. But as snow flurried, rare for Raleigh, I scrolled her Insta. Ultrasound pic. Captioned our miracle. Debate raged in my skull. Was I the villain? Torching bridges for spite? Or the survivor? Clawing free from chains I'd forged myself? Months blurred. Court dates in the Mecklenburg Superior, where Ethan's lawyer painted me as the scorned harpy, his as the reformed rogue begging redemption. Family fractured, Clara ghosted. Mom sent passive-aggressive psalms texts. Dad thawed with a grudging, proud of your spine. Kid. The house sold in spring. Proceeds split like war reparations. I moved to a loft in Durham's warehouse district, walls echoing with takeout and therapy breakthroughs. Ethan got probation, cunning as ever. Flipping tears for the judge. Community service at Habitat for Humanity. Lila? She kept the baby. Named him after some indie band. Posted glow-up reels from her Montessori co-op. No contact, per the restraining order. But rumors swirled. He was coaching Pee-wee soccer. She was empowered single mom.
Me?
I thrived. Or faked it till I made it. Promotion to VP. Blind dates with accountants who quoted Vonnegut. A tattoo on my ribcage. Unbreakable?
Nah.
Yet the twist lingered, festering like kudzu. One muggy July Eve. Post-yoga at a studio that wasn't Lila's. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail clipped. Ethan's voice. Gravel and ghosts. Vi. It's me. The baby's not mine. DNA don't lie. She played us both, swapped samples at the clinic, chasing your settlement rumors. I'm ruined.
And you're
Free. Call if you want the proof. Or burn it. Your call.
free.
The word hung, heavy as humidity. I deleted the message, poured a bourbon neat, watched fireflies dance over the Eno River. Was it absolution? Or just another layer of his game? Readers, you'd argue till dawn. Did I win the war? Or just trade one cage for echoes? In America's heartland of half-truths, maybe that's the real revenge. No heroes. Just survivors picking buckshot from the feast.